Whew, here we go. Time for another show. Time for another show. How do we do it? Yes, you know. Good morning. We are here. I am at the halfway point of this big, huge Colorado trip now. And there's one thing that I can really say through all of this. I'm really damn tired. This is the halfway point of the third trip, and I'll be in Atlanta for a couple days till Thursday, and then I'm getting on the road and heading back. So now at this point, Colorado I consider my home now. I'm trying to. It's interesting. I am. Atlanta has been my home for 34 years, and I've loved it here. But of course, as I've talked about plenty of times, it's just my time. Ooh, excuse me, coffee's trying to escape. I feel like my time here has just done. I had this big, huge epiphany when I was in the middle of the pandemic, where, I know this sounds morbid, but like after 14 months of being in the same room and then just having experienced my 50th birthday by myself in that room alone during the pandemic, I had this epiphany of, I don't want to die in Atlanta. I don't want to die in this city. This is not where I want my story to end. That's what kind of really started the drive for moving to Colorado. I called up my friend in Georgetown, and I was like, could I just come hang out? I'm working on a mural for them, and I was just like, I gotta go somewhere. And that's when I went to Colorado, and I was like, why am I not living here? There's no reason why I can't live here. I can do my work here. And that was maybe about 2 years ago, and that basically started the whole wheels of moving west. So we are now at the official halfway point this summer of my big move to Colorado. So there's another trip planned for the middle of August where I come back, and then there'll be one final trip. So okay, so that was a setup for what I wanted to talk about. Is like, I feel there's a sort of surreal moment that I am where I'm kind of in this limbo space where it's like, when I say home, what do I mean? Do I mean Colorado? Do I mean Atlanta? Do I mean my van? So I'm like somewhere in between, somewhere caught in the middle, the extreme middle, between two worlds, having one foot in each of them at the moment. So, but I can feel the shift happening. It's the Colorado home is now sort of like, as I'm like arriving, I'm feeling the sense of I'm coming home. I'm coming to my new space. So it's just an interesting experience that I've been going through. It's I would say because I grew up in New Jersey, and the first big move was when I was 18, coming to Atlanta for college. And that was a huge move, going to a completely new realm of people that I've never met before. I mean, I was just going cold turkey into the South. And I knew nobody, but I knew I'd be okay, and I just went with it. This time with the Colorado move, I at least know people where I'm moving to this time, so it's not like I'm going in cold turkey. I know people, and it's such a friendly community that I've already started meeting people there and starting to feel like home. I mean, heck, they gave me a big parade in front of my house on July 4th. I don't think that was really for me, though. Um, but we'll pretend. um, but yeah, it's. I am tired. It's an interesting kind of tired. It's not the tired that I feel like I need to collapse on the ground. It's that slow grinding tired that you get when you're working on something that really means a lot to you, and you're driving towards it. And good morning, Nicole. Yeah, it's fear. I mean, luckily, you know, we are blessed to live in a country where we can move. There is this feeling like you can move if you want to, if you have the ability to. It's just how bad do you want it? A lot of people are afraid on the move because they've never moved before. They don't know. I mean, when it's that first move is probably the hardest move. Um, you know, my move from New Jersey to Atlanta when I was a teenager, um, I at least had a little bubble of college that I was going into. It's like not I wasn't going to just land on the street. I had this sort of safe little bubble that I landed into coming into Atlanta. Um, Moving halfway across the continent, it's like, and especially into the like the Rocky Mountains, and I'm going into a whole new climate. I mean, I'm at 8,500 feet above sea level, and it's like, you know, I'm in I'm in a whole new world. I'm still getting acclimated. It's going to probably take me all summer to keep getting acclimated, but it's a whole new flow for me. It's like you can't go as fast as you like. I can't go as fast as I've been going. I have to slow down both physically and mentally, I've discovered. So it's the Atlanta rush doesn't quite work there. And I don't know if it would even work in Denver, but like I'm also like if you take Denver as a mile up, like the Mile High City, Mile High Stadium, um, I'm another half mile up from Denver. So, it's if I'm pushing my mind too hard, like especially like with architecture or anything that needs vast amounts of logic and calculation and intense amounts of it, I have to go at a slower pace because it's like I'm finding my mind will lock up. It's just, it's like a computer where it just freezes for just about 3 or 4 seconds. And it's an interesting effect where it's just, you gotta just hold up for a second. So it's interesting, but luckily I've got friends there, and it feels like it's I'm not going in like when I moved to Atlanta. I had one sort of visit, and by the way, today's coffee brought to you by Waller's. Waller's over here on the east side of Decatur, um, over by the farmers market. That's where I get most of my coffee from, and it is Batdorf and Bronson is the beans I typically use. They supply Batdorf and Bronson, which is a pretty good bean. I like their they do Dancing Goats. Their Dancing Goats gets their coffee from them. Like the Dancing Goats main coffee is Batdorf and Bronson. So, um, I'm trying to find a local bean place out in Colorado. That's another big thing. It's like I'm having to try to find. Oh, I gotta find a new mechanic. I gotta find a new doctor. I gotta find a new grocery store. I gotta find a new everything, and I gotta find it. We have a good coffee. There's a good coffee shop in town. I don't know where their beans come from. I need to see where they source their beans. So. I've been living off of Circle K coffee, which I gotta say this, gas station coffee has improved dramatically over the past 10 to 15 years. Um, they've got those sort of bean machines in the gas stations now where you go in there and you got to figure out how to use the touch screen. So if you've got techno fear, it can be a little bit daunting, and but it's actually not as difficult as the fear makes it out. I mostly sit there and help other people and assist them in figuring out how to use the coffee machines at the Circle K. But they've got this Texas pecan roast that I am just like really in love with at the moment, and I haven't been able to shake my obsession with it. But there's still some when you go in there and the coffee is like a shoe, drinking a shoe out of a shoe. But yeah, America really likes its drugs. We really, really, really do. Coffee being like the big one. Coffee, sugar, the ones that are coming legal. We make art forms out of our addictions. Yeah, I do. I mean, I used to like Pilot. Pilot used to be my go-to stop on the road, but they've now pretty much have gone to all automated checkout, which I don't mind that, but their system is awful. The checkout, like the self-checkout system at Pilot is awful. Circle K's got this thing called Smart Checkout, where you just put your stuff on the thing, and it basically it reads it, like it scans it, and it comes right up, and you pay. I've made a decision that I'm gonna have to not go to Pilot for a while. Pilot's off the list. I still like Love's, but Love's has had a little bit of it used to be where every single Love's was nice, shiny, and new. I just love seeing that little heart on the road. Like you're driving down and you see the heart come up down the road about a mile or two down the way, and you're like, okay, I'm stopping. It's just a nice little. They did really, really good on picking that logo. But I like Flying J. I don't like TNA. I do not like. I know I'm going to probably get shot in the foot for this one, but I hate Buc-ee's. Everybody talks about Buc-ee's. I hate going to Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is just one big, bright, shiny beacon of anxiety. That's how I describe Buc-ee's. And I don't know. I'm not a Buc-ee's fan. I've been there twice now, and it's just, you gotta walk so damn far. There's just so much walking at a Buc-ee's. I mean, it's like going into a Walmart gas station. It's like a gas station that's a Walmart. And, the brisket really, it's, nah. Yeah, it's just, I don't like Buc-ee's at all. And, Loves is still my number one go-to. Um, I've taken on this last trip. I've taken Pilot off of that list. Anyhow, I guess we're talking gas stations this morning. But you know, I travel a lot, so mostly recreationally. But you know, I've got the Atlanta Denver run down pretty solid over the past 4 years. I've done the Atlanta Denver run maybe about, you know, somewhere near 24 times. I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 24. So, but how are you doing today, Nicole? You having a good day? Thanks for stopping by. You know, it's sometimes this show is, sometimes I'm alone, sometimes I'm not, sometimes I'm alone. Hello. So it's kind of like that. So basically the whole idea of this story is me practicing streaming. So I started doing this in December, and I keep practicing with it. So I have found with streaming, and a lot of it is just trying to get comfortable talking to a camera and talking through the internet. You know, especially for Zoom calls with clients, it helps with that. But being that it's kind of the main way that we're going to be communicating with people, which I kind of dig. I love it. I love going on the Vision Train every once in a while, which is a collective of artists that you know, basically Zoom and paint live with each other. But it's good. It's the trip. Like I don't know if you saw the early part. I'm in the exhausted part. I literally just went to Florida, and I literally slept for 4 days at the halfway point. I didn't mean to sleep for 4 days. It's just, you know, I'm going back and forth between Colorado and Denver every 2 to 3 weeks. And it just kind of all caught up with me this week, and I was just exhausted. I just needed. I'm really good at listening to my body and what my body wants, and if my body really wants sleep. I hope this sounds okay. I'm going through my webcam mic because I'm on the road, and I don't have my really good mic. So last week I did this, and it was a little staticky. I tried to fix it. Hold on, I'm getting a little bit of clipping. Let me pull it down a little bit. Let me pull it down a little bit. There we go. That's underneath the clipping. Okay. So, like, I'm going back and forth between Denver and Atlanta every 2 to 3 weeks, and it just all caught up with me. And I listen to my body, and especially if I'm on the road. If I'm on the road and my body says, okay, we need to stop. You know, luckily I've got a van with a cot in it, so I'll stop. I'm trying to get in the habit now when I'm traveling long distance to stay at state parks and national parks more than rest areas and give myself a little bit more time on the road. Most of the time I just push really, really hard, and I'm learning to pace myself a little bit better. Yeah, the birds. The birds were a change in sort of this round of streaming that I do. I do multi-stream. I stream through my Facebook, my Twitch, and my YouTube. And then I'm also recording it, and then I'll post it up on my YouTube later today. Usually if I'm in my main studio, I'll be working on something. Just when I'm on the road, I only have one screen, so streaming with one screen is very difficult. You know, I normally have 3 screens. I've got like one screen that's just for communication and monitoring the stream. I've got usually have one monitor for just what I keep off of the screen, and then I've got typically a a Wacom tablet that I use as the canvas for when I'm like doing artwork while I'm streaming. So, but when I used to solely stream on Twitch, you know, you can get into a lot of copyright issues when you play music, because I used to like having music in the background, just instrumental, just kind of like having some background, because it helps drown out any sort of like chair shifts, or there's a knock outside the door or whatever. I basically, on this sort of stream, I switched to the natural bird sounds, mostly because I don't get nabbed with the copyright infringements with the bird and the natural sounds. So I could make my own music, but I got too much. I do too much. I have too much on my list, and I'm down to my last cup. So, but you know, ultimately, what I'm working towards, and ultimately what we normally do on the stream, and it normally goes, I do it a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning. With the move, it's been a little bit difficult, but normally I've got this graphic comic that I started with this show called Forever is Fleeting, and when in the starting soon sort of intro to this stream for like the waiting room, I let those little graphic comics, the ones that have been done. There's been about 17 that we've done over the course of the year on this show, and they're basically just taking aspects of my artistic practice and just kind of putting them into a comic form, trying to make them witty, make them funny, make them sort of somewhat educational, little peek into the... It's kind of like a Far Side for artists, but not as sort of grim. So, but yeah, so like a lot of what I do as an artist is there's a lot of different big projects that I want to do. That I've got I've got a bunch of graphic novels that I want to do. The big one's going to be Iron, which I'm starting this winter. But I also did this for Arcane Arena, the board game. Is, you know, I get these, and with moving to Colorado, it's the same thing. It's like with everything. It's when you're approaching some huge, big task project that's going to need a lot of coordination, take a lot of time, you know, and you're going to have to pace yourself. You know, it's really good to be able to break it down into the little steps, and learning how to do that and break it down into the little steps. I'm making this whole move over to Colorado, and yeah, I'm tired right now, but I'm not stressed. I'm not freaking out. You know, it's like I didn't try to do it all at once. I think we try to put everything into a little bubble, and we just try to make it all happen all at once. And that's when the anxiety and the fear and techno-fear comes in. And that's like, if one little thing goes wrong, all of the cards come crashing down. And, you know, if we don't, you know, but a lot of times we don't have the ability. We get like maybe 4 days to move our entire lives because we got to keep working. So thanks, Justin. Pleasure to meet you, and thanks for coming by, Justin. I appreciate that. And I've been doing it a while. So, you know, it's like the move to Colorado, I've kind of treated like an art project. And, you know, I'm using it as a way of like, I'm trying to document it. I'm doing some streaming and videos and trying to get the social media thing rolling with it, and which is always kind of a non-stop adventure. But yeah, just compartmentalizing everything and being able to break it down into the little steps. Um, the comic that I use or I do typically on the show when I'm in the main studio and not on the road is sort of a stepping stone preparing me for doing this big project this winter, which is going to take about 3 years. I'm doing a graphic novel based on my uncle's journals from Vietnam. Um, I appreciate that, Justin. Most of the big stuff is been moved already. A lot of it is um, um, just doing it really. So, but if I have a big artistic project that I am trying to accomplish, but I don't know how to do it. Like with Arcane Arena, the board game, I had never created artwork for a game before, much less design all of the artwork for a game and be heavy in the development of the game. And I think when I first started that project, I created a little practice every single morning because I decided that the artwork for Arcane Arena was going to be done with a digital canvas. And I had never used a digital canvas before. So I created a bunch of exercises where when I would get up in the morning, I would spend an hour, and it was a whole series of maybe 20 or so pieces. I would just focus on one for the week. I would get up every morning, work on it for an hour, and then at the end of the week, I was done with it, and I would just go on to the next one. But it was a way of being able to practice for the bigger project. And then Arcane Arena was a project that I took on because I knew that I wanted to do these graphic novels, but I don't know how to do graphic novels. I don't know how to do on that type of scale. So Arcane Arena became another stepping stone. So like every single artistic project is like a stepping stone that's leading to more projects. Everything that I learned technology-wise or technique-wise is ultimately leading towards, learning something more, and it's like, I'm always in this constant state of being in the middle, kind of arriving in a constant state of departure where, things are always cycling, there's little moments where you get to rest, but it's always moving. I've got a long list of, like, I need to learn how to use AI. That's a whole nother story. I'm not talking about just using AI to tell it to make me a pretty picture. I'm talking about actually incorporating AI as an assistant, helping me organize 30 years of artwork and to be able to feed all of my artwork on it. Ultimately, what I would love for AI to be able to help me with is when I'm like in the hardcore design edge of what I am doing and I'm trying to work something out. The AI has access to all of the artwork I've done for over the past 30 years and being able to help me shift ideas, being able to access, like, well, what do I do there? And being able to get it, but then also being able to get me things off of the internet that I need. Like, go find me examples of 25 Balinese Saraswati temples. When you're doing artwork and you have to leave the canvas, you lose the flow. It's all about being in that sort of that edge of the flow. And when you have to do left brain things, you lose that connection. For me, I ultimately would like to have an AI assistant that helps me stay there. And, I don't have to now go spend 2 to 3 hours of research and lose my groove, you know. So, uh, but that's going to take me figuring it out. I want to learn more about VR stuff. I'm trying to create my website to be a 3D virtual walkthrough gallery. You know, that's still 2 or 3 years off. So, you know, there's always, as an artist, I've got this constant, need for evolution. You know, there's this constant growth. It's like you're constantly moving towards something. Sorry, Justin, I'm not sure. Like, are you talking about with the AI? You can help with the AI stuff. So, yeah, it's. I'm trying to get out of seeing it as like I'm going up the mountain because it constantly devolves. It constantly becomes a Sisyphus type of energy. Justin, I will reach out to you afterwards. Probably let me get back to Colorado next week. I will reach out to you. You know, that's a whole thing that's probably not going to happen until the fall. I have learned. I learned in June when I started the move that I need to just focus on the move. Because I tried doing other things and adding more things on top of it, and it was just too much. So once I get set, the whole goal for this summer is to get settled into Colorado, and then and the reason why I'm moving to Colorado is so I can focus on my artwork. So um, Justin, I will see. I've got a really busy day today. I've got 2 clients I have to meet, and then I also have to go over and do some chitty potty work with the Prayer Engine team. I'm going to be going to the Paseo Festival out in Taos, New Mexico in September 13th. I'll be at the Paseo Festival in Taos, New Mexico, with the Prayer Engine team. And the Prayer Engine team is a team that we brought the big skeleton fire sculpture, the Burning Man in Loveburn. We've been invited to bring it to the Paseo Festival, so I've got to go over there tonight, and we need to do some prep work for that. I mean, it's nonstop. I mean, working for yourself is constantly working. You know, and the hardest part is doing what you love. You don't know when to stop because you're just having fun, and you got to regulate. It's like what happened to me this past week, where I crashed and I fell asleep for 3 to 4 days because I just needed it, and I went down to Florida, and I was like, I had this goal of being able to, okay, I'm going to take this time to settle in, and I'm going to do some, you know, maintenance work on organizing some artwork. And, you know, I'm starting to organize my files for the next big project, but I set up my computer down there, and I didn't even touch it for 3 days. I literally, the first day there, I slept the entire day. And, you know, because, I mean, I also had just been on the road for 3 days from Colorado all the way down to Tampa. And I was exhausted. But it's all good. I mean, I'm enjoying it. So, but the whole shift to Colorado is so that I can actually work more. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Not work more efficiently. I'm moving to Colorado because the winters in Atlanta are too short. And I realized this. When I was in June, I moved into the new house, I moved into the new studio in Colorado in June. And I swear to you, June in Colorado is winter in Atlanta. I mean, that's it. I mean, sometimes you get some snow, sometimes you get 80-degree weather. So you actually get more snow in Colorado in June than Atlanta gets in most of its winters. But the reason being is winters are my favorite time to work. My favorite time to get focused on the deep stuff, where I can go, like, I can do the deep dive into the creative flow. And to get into a good solid creative flow takes about 2 to 3 weeks of being able to do it consistently. You can't just, it's like being an athlete, like going onto the field to compete. You can't just come from your car, jump onto the athletic field, and then expect to be at peak performance. You gotta work up to it. So it takes, you gotta get the project set up, and you gotta get into a good rhythm, and you gotta get that rhythm consistent, and you gotta keep going with it. And you struggle with it. You go through, like, okay, I got it, and then you get blocked again. And it takes 2 to 3 weeks of being able to work on this project to really get into that edge of the flow where you get your mind wrapped around all of it, where you can see the field, and you can start working there, and then you're working, symbiotically with it. And with Atlanta, our winters are about a month. You're lucky if you get 6 weeks of winter here in Atlanta. And by the time I finally get into that creative edge, that's when the weather shifts again, and you're coming out of it, and you're like, no! The hope is, the winter where I'm going to be in Colorado is going to be from October until June. So basically 8 months of, the October to December is kind of half and half. June, like May and June, it's kind of half and half. But I'm going to get 4 to 5 solid months of being able to focus on projects. And I'd like to have 2 projects that I bounce back and forth off of each other. So, like, I've got the main project that I'm working on, and then I've got the supplement, and then I've got a big supplemental project. So what I do is, when I push really hard on the one project, and then I step back and I take a break and I breathe a little bit on this supplementary project, where I can let up and I can relax a little bit, and I can go on to autopilot a little bit, but I also don't lose the connection. All right, like when you're in the creative flow and you're working on a project, if you step away from it for 2 weeks, you lose it, and then your engines go cold, and then you got to build it up again. So you got to keep those engines warm. So I keep a supplemental project off to the side that I can just kind of bounce back into, especially if there's a design block. If I get into a block on a project, I have the supplemental project where I can just come into it, and I just, just let the windows open for a little bit and relax and drive a little bit. So but Justin, I am definitely interested in talking to somebody about AI stuff. I mean, like, I know enough where to look, but it's like, I'm not looking for something like Midjourney. I'm looking for my own specific AI that I can use, that I can feed my own stuff to, that will be responsive to what I want it to be, and I can guide it the way that I want it to be. both on the painting side and then also on the architectural side. Like, for example, is, you know, I'm really interested in implementing AI as a sort of drafting assistant or design assistant, and with the architectural practice. Oh, I understand, Justin. I was just kind of letting you know I'm kind of letting you know what I'm looking for, so that when we have the conversation, we don't have to spend this time, with it. But in my design process on the let's say on the architectural side, I do most of my architectural design in hooked into virtual reality space. So I finally have a computer that can handle my architectural software and then keep the virtual reality rendering software open at the same time and keep them linked to each other and not have any lag. That's the big key, is not having any lag on the computer. So my computer has 128 gigabytes of RAM, and so we're pretty good there. But the idea is the problems that I have is when I'm in the design mode in a design project, and I'm in that space, I don't want to come out of that space. I don't want to come out of that space and have to go to the internet and find what I'm looking for. I want to have an AI assistant that's like a parrot on my shoulder, okay, change this kitchen design, change the tile, change this, go find what's available, having an AI to be able to go find what kind of products are available, or what's in stock, what's on sale, so I can relay that to my client, to be able to have something like that. But not only that, I waste a lot of time modeling redundant shit, like chairs, or couches, or, lighting fixtures. I do, to be able to have an AI, say, okay, put this type of chair here, put this type of couch here, I lose half of my time modeling stuff because, I don't, there's not, there's not a lot of good libraries out there for downloading 3D assets. And the problem is when you download a 3D asset into a virtual reality space, you don't know what kind of meta garbage they're going to be attaching to it. For example, in my architecture software, most of the suppliers and vendors have 3D models that you can download into your products, but it comes with so much metadata that they put into it that connects and communicates with their website and this, that, and the other, and it just bogs down my machine. It's just they don't know how to make blocks or families, because the way they do it is just so inefficient, and it's just frustrating, and nobody does it the same way, and it's just frustrating. So yeah, I want ultimately a Jarvis from Iron Man, and that type of interface, and that interface that has completely connected to my library and can add of things that I do that can feed it back to me when I need it. I spend another place where I spend so much time is being able to find. At this point I've got 3 terabytes of design information. All right, I've got three terabytes that I need to kind of ultimately coordinate, and being able to go through all of that is time that I lose. And when and it's not time that I can bill. That's the other problem, is it's not billable hours. So I lose money by having to go through all of that. Having an AI that would be able to organize that 3 terabytes of information for me so that I can have access to it. Like I need this, like from this year, go find it, and this year, this month, this project, go find me all of the images from that, or find me all of my interior images from that project. So I lose so much time trying to just keep up with myself. So, and I definitely need help with it. I need help in that direction. So, and then the same thing on the artistic side, it's just being able to, just organize all of it. So, Justin, I'm looking forward to talking to you about it. I'll at least send you, what's the best way to communicate to you? Email, Facebook Messenger, just let me know what's the best way to communicate with you, and I'll do it. Don't necessarily post your phone number. You're welcome to send me that phone number through Messenger or something, but I'm trying to figure out what's the best form of communication. I use Signal. I don't use Messenger's fine then. I'll do it through Messenger. I'm mostly using Facebook Messenger and email. If I'm working on a project with somebody, other than just basic surface level communication with somebody, Messenger is fine. But if I am like sending files back and forth with each other, or images, or things that we need to kind of document, I typically go the email direction. Just because email is just a better way of searching for stuff. Messenger is so hard to find stuff from the past. So we are at 47 minutes. Will I be able to not pee for 13 minutes? That's the question right now. Will I be able to make the final 13 minutes? So that's another area where I feel AI will help, is just organizing all of the different communication channels that I gotta keep up with, all of the different passwords I have to keep up with. It's just exhausting. This person wants to use Telegraph, this person wants to use Signal, this person wants to use WhatsApp, this person wants to use email, this person wants to use Coconuts. I'm I use Kaspersky. If LastPass is a password organizer, I use Kaspersky. So, I also use Discord. I don't like the user interface on Discord. It just doesn't work with my brain. I can tell that Discord is a lot more for coding type people. Yeah, I'm on Signal. I'm using Signal more and more. So just whatever. I'm also on Slack. I also, for the Prayer Engine design team uses Slack, so I have to use Slack for that, to communicating with them. So yeah, it's I'm still learning how to use a password keeper. It's still frustrating, all of the passwords. It just hurts my head. The thing is, my saving grace, everything is connected to my Google account. if anything ever happens to Google and my Google account and I lose all of that, that's sort of like my anchor point on the internet. So I've heard Teams is getting a lot better. 3 to 4 years ago, Teams was just very frustrating to use. And Zoom's frustrating to use too, but at least I've kind of gotten used to Zoom. I think it's mostly why I work solo. It's just because I dread working on a team sort of type platform. But I have been using Teams more lately because some of my clients are using it, so I use it because of that, and it's gotten a lot better. It's my problem is all of these different apps anchoring themselves into my operating system, and then losing the ability to manage all of them and getting notifications constantly. I hate notifications. It's my problem with Microsoft is it just wants to it's like Microsoft and Meta both, they just want to wrap themselves around my operating system, and I keep kind of hitting them with my broom and sweeping them out. I'm like, stay out. If I want you, I will call you. I don't want you. And then it's just, I don't need to know this information. Well, we got to the end of my coffee. I'm out of coffee. There's no more coffee. And this is the second cup. And I've got 8 minutes left, so I'm gonna have to make it 8 minutes without coffee, which is fine. But it's one of the things that I really dread. Dread's not a word. For example, with architecture, the tools, the technology and the tools are finally here that I've been waiting for 25 years. And, Adobe is finally, and Photoshop and Adobe is finally at the place, and cloud sort of computing is finally at the place where I've been waiting for it for 25 years. And the problem is now I'm 50. And I'm tired. I don't have the ability to sit at the computer for 12 hours a day anymore. I gotta pace myself and regulate myself. I used to be able to go for 12 hours on the computer and then pass out, and then go for 12 hours and then pass out, and learn this and learn that. It's just getting to the point where I can't keep up with everything anymore. I say that, but then I do. But yeah, just, the other thing about what I'm trying to direct this show, or this sort of creative coffee thing, Saturday and Sunday mornings. When I'm on the road, it's going to be kind of either Saturday or Sunday. I may try to do another one tomorrow. It's iffy. I'm not consistent with the time, especially when I'm bouncing back and forth between Mountain and Eastern. Eastern's a little bit harder because, to be 9 o'clock Eastern time, I've got to be 7 o'clock Mountain time. So, it's I'm trying to find the right time period. I'm hoping that I will have it down by fall. This winter is going to be a lot of changes are coming for me this winter, and winter starting in October. I'm starting this graphic novel, And the goal for this graphic novel is I'm doing a graphic novel based on my uncle's journals from Vietnam. And I know a lot of people are like, what are you doing a graphic novel on Vietnam? You're a visionary artist. Well, I'm taking that visionary art perspective and I'm going to tweak it into, doing this graphic novel based on Vietnam, because the story and just the way that my uncle wrote his journals, it's got a little bit, if you ever seen the movie Memento, it's got a very Memento feel to it. And, it's a story that needs to be told. It's a story that it's going to be a completely different look at Vietnam, because, anyhow. So my goal for this winter is I've got a chapter that I'm trying to illustrate. It's not the first chapter. It's going to be a chapter somewhere in the middle of the graphic novel. And it doesn't give any of the story away. And the chapter is called "It's a Fucking Dragon," is the name of the chapter. And I want to illustrate it completely, or like at least 90 to 95% done with it, but through the winter, as a way of getting the aesthetic right, getting the compositions right, getting the way the color palettes, basically then using this is what the rest of it is going to look like, and then do a Kickstarter in the spring to be able to hopefully get the rest of it financed so that I can work on it. At the moment, I'm having to supplement it with architectural work, or trying to sell my artwork. But I'm trying to get as much time to work on the graphic novel as possible. I'm going to be promoting Patreon. Is where I'm going to be posting a lot of it, and I will probably be showing a lot of behind the scenes during it with this Creative Coffee sessions. So when I get into it this month, getting into this winter, and once I get the Colorado move done and get settled in, I'm kind of taking middle of September to October to really just enjoy the aspen trees changing colors before the winter starts. But once middle of October hits and the snow starts falling, it's to the grindstone, and I'm going to try to illustrate the entire not the first chapter, but this chapter this winter. So, and the chapter is called "It's a Fucking Dragon," and one of the things that is kind of interesting to the story, as far as we know, my uncle is the only person that carried a copy of The Hobbit with him through Vietnam, and he read on his tour of duty, he got through The Hobbit, I think 3.5 times. But part of it is integral, like some of the imagery is integral to some of the experiences in the story, and "It's a Fucking Dragon" ties in a little bit to it. And it's just an experience that he had out there where he thought he was being attacked by smog. But it ended up being a herd of elephants. Basically, the helmets that they wore had 2 membranes. So he carried a copy of The Hobbit in his helmet between the 2 membranes to be able to keep it dry. So that's kind of one of the quirky things that's going to be part of his character development, that he has this copy of The Hobbit. And I think it was a pirated copy, because I don't know when the first edition got published in America of the Hobbit. I'm not sure. I gotta look at that. I gotta do. It's gonna be a lot of research that I've got to do for this. I'm also gonna probably go to Vietnam at some point for a month or 2, just to kind of tour some of the areas that he was in. just to kind of get a feel. Because like another thing that I'm trying to portray is the juxtaposition of the war and then the beauty of what Vietnam is and the culture of Vietnam. And, you know, the culture of a people that have spent 2,000 years keeping people out, especially the Chinese. The Chinese have invaded Vietnam so many times, you know. So it's just going to be this grand sort of juxtaposition of harsh war and cultural beauty, and just coming together of two different hemispheres, two different, like, you know, and you know, portraying what, like, our kids out of high school that got drafted to this war, what they got put into, you know, the barrage of just hell from all different angles, like information-wise, gaslighting, you know, drugs that got thrown into there just so you didn't lose your damn fucking mind out there. You know, and to just be able to just jump into it and portray it in a visual way with my visionary artistic spin of it. So there's going to be, it's going to be epic, and it's going to take me about 3 years to do, and I hope I really can, like, I'm going to need a lot of help with, to be able to, you know, do this thing, because like I don't have a big, you know, I don't have a advance from a big publisher. I'm going to be self-publishing this thing. I'm doing everything on my own, especially, yeah, this is going to be redemption for all of them and what they experienced and what we put a generation of kids through is just awful. And not only that, just the return, what was done to them. And like, they're the ones that took the brunt of all of the shit, and it wasn't even their fault. They just were the ones that were like going there and doing their, like, I'm doing the duty like my father did in World War II. You know, it's just the mind fuck that we put to them and then just toss them to the side. You know, it's just really a hard, well, one of the many hard time periods of mistakes that this country has made. So anyhow, thank you all so much for joining me today. Justin, I'm going to talk to you soon about the AI. Nicole, thank you for joining this morning. Also, like, another thing that creative, I'm going to end with this. Another thing that I want Creative Coffee to be is a space for me to kind of hang out and friends to come to say hi, especially the fact that I'm going to be in Colorado and a majority of my friends live in Atlanta and New Jersey. You know, but also for creatives, like a sanctuary space for creatives to come vent, to rant, to ask questions or advice, or to, like, they're working on a project and they have, you know, just want advice on something. It's just, this is just, you know, an open moment for people to come ask me questions, you know. Like, I've been doing, you know, I have been promoting myself as an artist on the internet for 20 years now. I've been promoting myself as an architect for 30 years. So, you know, it's just, that's the pool of experience I draw off of, you know, surviving the crash of '08, surviving Y2K. I joke that I've been through 4 to 5, I've lost count of the amount of apocalypses or Armageddons I've been through at this point. So, you know, it's just a space for me to be able to help anybody that just needs a moment to just vent, just help with something, you know, but also share my own techniques and my own experience. So thank you all for joining this morning. I will be back tomorrow I'm kind of set up where it's not gonna be much me working on anything because again, I only have one screen, and when I'm traveling, it's like streaming with one screen is really difficult. Especially if you're going to do sort of like visual representations, and I'm gonna do work on like digital canvas. So anyhow, thank you all, and you all have a great weekend. I will see you tomorrow. Bye, Art!